very much. I'm so glad to be here today. My screen first, and then I'll continue. It's a very great pleasure for me to be here today, and I don't take this privilege for granted. Let me first by acknowledging my father, the Bishop, David Oyedepo, for the wealth of wisdom that has been drawn from his teachings. And I also want to acknowledge the Vice Chancellor and the Chair of ICADI 2020. All protocol observed. Thank you. And before I start, I just want to applaud Professor Okebukola for what he has shared today, which I have taken on board. There is no Africa without innovativeness. If we want to move forward as a continent, we must be innovative. And that brings me to my presentation today. Women and youth empowerment. Of course, we need right education, innovation, and entrepreneurship for Africa we want. Professor Okebukola talked so much about the African Union Agenda 2063, which I also extract item number 6 on the Africa that we want. The Africa that we want to see is the Africa that is people-driven, an Africa that is relying on the potential of African people, especially its women and youth. And of course, Africa that cares for the children so that we can grow the next generation to lead change. That is the Africa we want to see. My presentation is going to be very brief because I will give away a book that I've just completed about a week ago, which will give details of the Africa we want and the solution that must be implemented if we must have that Africa. Now, what is the problem? That's where I'm going to start from. The problem statement of Africa. In the last 60 years, our dear continent has externalized our own solutions. She has looked away from our own strength. And of course, she concentrates on the old solution to new problem with the same mindset. Our Africa that we want will not survive if we don't change this narrative. So how do we change this narrative? Quickly. The solution, like I mentioned, is to change the narrative with sustainable intervention. What are these interventions? How are we going to be seeing this kind of intervention we're looking for? They must be very innovative. They must be people-driven. It must tap into the brain and the potentials of Africans. That is, we have the local solution to our local problem within our local communities. How do we do this? We have to develop homegrown solutions to solve the problem by taking local responsibility with the application of Sustainable Development Goals. Why did I say that? The UN in 2015 and its members adopted the Sustainable Development Goals with all the targets and indicators, okay? And then each of these targets, it's a solution to a problem. If you looked at from goal 1 to goal 17, everything about those goals is wrong with Africa. So are we going to continue to talk about Africa as being poor, as being poverty-stricken? Nothing works in Africa. I am not from that school of thought. For me, I'm an Africa. I'm a proud Africa, and I'm celebrating the name of Africa, and I believe that the solution to African problems lies with me and you. Like I said, the highlight of the problem statement is we should stop externalizing our solutions. The solutions to our problem are right here in the continent of Africa. especially here in Nigeria where I belong? What about our strength? The strength of an African man, woman, and youth, their tenacity, the ruggedness, the proactiveness, the never give up attitude that we have. Have we tapped into it? Why still concentration on old solutions? For years, Africa has been tagged as a dump site for AIDS. Before I was born, the Nigerian government has been receiving AIDS. Up till now, AIDS are still flowing in from the Western countries. What has happened? Have we been transformed by the AIDS? Do we have electricity fixed? Do we have major infrastructures? Of course not. We cannot, because they are being looted. Corruption is the bane of the society. But you know what? We can change the narrative, and it is doable. So the mindset has to be changed. And that is where university, primary school, secondary school come in. In our organization, we're working from primary. I've been working with Professor Wale Soyinka for over 18 years. We have targeted age group from 8 to 25, just to change mindset. But you know what? Our result is coming. By 2037, you will see our youth under our platform leading change in this country, Nigeria. But we have to start from somewhere. So the African we want, in summary, Africa with women and youth that are recognized as having this solution, and they are using them. You know, you see women with creative ideas, they are relegated to the background. Even in higher institutions, she's a woman. And then, of course, you don't boost their morale. So we don't have solution. We need to work together to make Africa work. So development must be people-driven as specified by African Union, Agenda 2063. We must utilize the potential of FOLU and every one of us in this hall today. We must utilize our potential to make Africa work. It is everyone's and every people everywhere would have to work together to make our own dear continent work. There must be focus on women and youth. Look, gone are the days that you feel women, they're out there in the kitchen. I love to cook a lot. I'm a kitchen person, but I'm a very, very busy personality as well. So I still do my cooking and I care for family, yet I am innovating. So we need to change that narrative of women. Women are endowed. You remember in the beginning when we're created with a lot of potentials, and God did not separate women and men. He says, go and be a blessing to your generation. So why are we not blessing our generation? Mindsets. So how do we achieve this Africa we want? I don't want to go, when I was listening to the professor, in my mind, I'm like, he said all. What do I need to say about innovation again? So I won't just stay on all of this because he's talked about them. The right education. What is right education? Such that is being offered in Covenant University. I am a witness to that because we are working with set of Covenant University students that by tomorrow, they are going to be joined with over 60 nations in the world, including the 8th UN Secretary General, for them to present the solution they've created on our platform. I've been reached, they've contacted from headquarters in UN just about 2 nights ago that they would love to be part of what's happening in Covenant University. So the right education is the education that prepares youth for next tomorrow and tomorrow. And the education that makes you feel, I'm not just going in to be employed, but I'm going into the world. I'm going into the African continent to bless my generation. I'm going in to create. I am a doer. I'm a creator. That's the kind of youth that we need to bring up from our various institutions in Nigeria and all over Africa. Right education. Education that commands that you need to solve problems. Education that gives back to the students that enable them to create solutions, to sell solutions, to have empathy, to be people's-oriented. That's the kind of education we're talking about. I'm glad that I don't need to preach this. This is upon this that the university, Commonwealth University, was established. So we can sing this out to outside there. So we need a Commonwealth University that will produce another 17 Covenant, even though the person has now attended Commonwealth University. We need to populate Africa with this mindset. Commonwealth University students should go all out there and be the driver of this change. Innovation, we can't talk more about this. We must be innovative in our approach. Look, like I said earlier, old problem can never be solved by old solutions. We need to go back to the drawing board, put all of this on the table, reiterate, we need to ideate, we need to brainstorm, we need to come up with solutions that is tested, prototype that help. And once we do this and they are tested, let's roll them down, let's roll them out and begin to talk about the individuals, the group of people that have come up with these solutions, celebrate them so that the solution can be embraced all over the continent. What about entrepreneurship, which is what we are doing now? I'll get into this in details even as we move forward. The Africa we want. This is the Africa that needs to produce students, that needs to produce graduates that go out there to become employer of labor. Believe me, I don't want to give statistics, but the level of unemployment we have right now, we're crying last year. It's worse right now because COVID-19 crept into the continent, all the continents of the world, and we have been badly affected. So are we going to continue to talk about Africa being the worst? No way. We need to create a model that will enable us to create jobs, and that is what we are doing. So let's go practical. When I go to conference, I love to be able to drive action. So that by the time you are reaching out to me, you become like a creator, a doer. Talk is cheap. We talk in Africa, we talk around the world. But what about the action? After this conference, what next? What are we bringing out of this conference? How many innovators are we producing? How many creators we emanate from this talk? How many people we go all out there and bring up children and youth and impact them to lead change for social impact and for profit? That brings us to Solution 17 ways, shaping the future. Solution 17 is leading way to a sustainable Africa. Like it has been read in my profile, we had to go to the drawing board after we won the award and innovate. Now, what was our dream? The dream I had in 2018, after I've been baptized into the realm of blessing, be a blessing to Africa by my father, Bishop David Oyedepo, right in the church. He told the congregation that my daughter will multiply from A to B, from B to C, from one continent to second continent until she takes over the world. It's just barely 2 years. Tomorrow, they are still registering. Over 60 nations have signed up for our Solution 17 program that will be launched globally tomorrow. So what am I saying? Solution 17 is leading way. We're going practical. So I'm going to be sharing the book that I had to complete because the European Commission requested for it. It took me 3 days. And the book is complete. I'm going to give you a copy, though it's going to be launched tomorrow, but I'll give you. It's very quick. That will help you to actually look into ideas that you have. Spark up your creativity. Break silos. Create and do. Let the world see that you have it, but never give up on your solutions. There might be problems, but you know what? Go for the solutions. Because remember, I started by saying, you're born, each and every one of us, old and young, boy and girl, to be a blessing to our generation, irrespective of your age. Remember, Abraham left at 75. So you're not too young to create change in Africa. So I'm going to stop this and I'll bring the book. I'll run through this for like less than 5 minutes and we'll complete this. Hold on, please. So how do we start? You must identify a problem in the continent of Africa. In this particular instance, with Solution 17 for Solution 17 for Climate Action in Covenant University, we recognize a problem called climate action. And in one climate action, and climate action, we have poverty, we have unemployment, we have nearly all the goals in one. So basically, I would identify them. The first thing we did was to identify which institution, who do we collaborate with to provide this solution, to innovate solution that will work for Africa. And you know what? At that time, when Solution 17 was created, it was based on this principle from Bakimo. Now, the quote says, saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth. These are one and same fight. We must connect all the dots between one, climate change, water scarcity, energy shortages, global health, food security, women empowerment. Hear this. Solution to one problem, according to him, in 2015, when he was the Secretary General, is and must be solution to all. That is what he said. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this was picked from the internet, and we ran with it. Tomorrow, we are going to have Mr. Ban Ki-moon on right here, joining the Solution 17 launch for climate action right in Nigeria. That's a dream. We dreamt about it 2 years ago. It's coming to pass today. Why is it happening? Because we never gave up on our solutions. So I'll run through this since I'm giving you this book. We have, over the last 2 years, we've created a platform for children, for teenagers, for youth, and for adults. And you will see all the platforms. I'm not going to read them. You see them. And what are we doing differently? We innovated the UN Sustainable Development Goal, all the 17. I practically sat with them with my team. We read all the indicators. We condensed the goal as one. We made them Solution 17, condensing the entire goal of the United Nations and making them as one to solve one problem per time. Meaning that if I'm speaking in another nation tomorrow, I could be talking about Solution 17 for right education. If I'm talking another nation next tomorrow, it could be Solution 17 for partnership. That is what we did. And what happened? UN saw it, and it's right on their website as good practice that will help the United Nations to galvanize momentum for the fulfillment of SDGs in 2030. So, as I'm flipping through, climate crisis is a race we must win. Let us identify a problem in Africa. Let us speak prophetically. Hunger is a race we must win. Low quality education is a race we must win. Innovate them. So we have innovated climate crisis as a race we must win. And what is our module like? 17 participants, 17 schools or 17 entrepreneurs, 17 creative ideas, 17 solutions, 17 makers, doers, and innovators to solve one problem per time. That is our module. And where are we doing this? Professor and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we chose Covenant University. The journey started in February. Today, we have 17 finalists with their team. So we have a total of 45 students of Covenant University working with us. Tomorrow, they'll be showcased officially to the world. Why? We are doing, we are acting, we are moving forward, and we are creating change. So what are we getting out of these students? We want them to have the mindset of creating solutions for social impact and for profit. I'm going to be very fast. So we realize that how do we carry 17 projects from Otta and environs to United Nations, to EU. We knew that we had to innovate. So we innovated the solutions, and we got other teenagers to paint the solution on canvas. Ladies and gentlemen, last week, we had in our innovation hub 6 Nigerian students, teenagers. They transformed by working with Covenant University students. They co-created 17 solutions on canvas, which the whole world will be opening tomorrow as part of United Nations General Assembly. You must, once you have solution for your world, they will send for you. The king will send for you. When Joseph was called, nobody asked Joseph, where are you from anymore? Once you have solution from the village in Nigeria, the president of America will open the door to see you because you have problem or you have solution to solve Americans' problem. So why don't we create solution provider all around the continent to make this happen? So it is time to ask for people and for planets. We should make the planet our focus. When we are people's focus, when we are environmental focus, we will solve the problem. Corruption will be a thing of the past. Our corruption drive is another story for another day. So, what's the movement all about? The Covenant University and university all around the world were leading them all around the world to say no to climate crisis. We've seen pandemic. Whatever we've seen in COVID is a tip of iceberg when it comes to climate change. So this change we're leading to ensure the world catches up. When they catches up, they find out who are these solution providers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are Africans using local solution, innovating solution from our local level, our local community to solve global problems, starting from our own continent. So the global movement was launched on June 2nd to commemorate the World Environmental Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we have created the model. The model means that 17 Covenant University students each will produce 17 innovators. 17 by 17 is 289. The other 17 from University of Salford that I'm going to be working with, they will produce another 17. So we are using figure number 17 to populate ideas generators all around the world. Guess what? By 2030, we're going to be having minimum of 20 million people, youth, that will be giving ideas to the continent of Africa and to the world. You know, I told you that they are entrepreneurs. We're not bringing them to solve solutions, to solve problems, but we are bringing them to create products for African problems so that they can make money. It is for social impact and for profit. And as I run through, we are now merging with partnership. Who are the partners that will drive us to achieve this? Remember, we don't have to rejig, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Electricity has been around the world. Renewable energy is working in Germany. So why don't we go to them and learn how it is done? Once that is done, we can now incorporate into our solution. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 days ago, European Commission agreed to join us in this fight, and they are going to be on board tomorrow. In another 2 or 3 hours, the European Commission, not the European Union, I'm talking about the European Commission itself, going to be promoting Solution 17 along in their platform. Why is this happen? Because we refuse to give up. We're African, beautifully decorated Africans, and we must get there. The exhibition we hold tomorrow, and we are going to be exposing 17 solutions that has been created by Covenant University students to the world. It becomes background for television stations, CNN. We are dreamers. CNN, BBC, talk about them. They're going to be using these paintings. Remember, each of the paintings represents a climate action enterprise, which you will read later as I give you this one.
ICADI brings together leaders, policymakers, and key players in government, the industry, academia, private sector, and international agencies and organizations. forward to a very rich engagement at ICADI 2020. I believe together we can reshape the narrative and proffer sustainable solutions for the Africa we want.